Name is Craig Shilling, Shilling.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, sir. Is there a statement that you wish to make?
Yes, Your Honor. But before I make my written statement, I'd like to have a candid moment with y'all to try and directly convey to you that this statement has been the hardest thing I've ever written in my life. You guys have the condensed version, 15 minutes or so, but it took me months and months and months, and I've swam through raw emotions trying to get this done. Thank you for letting me be here.
Oh, absolutely, sir. Thank you.
I will begin now. Honorable Judge Rowe, I am here before you today as a direct result of the horrible crimes that were committed back on November 30th, 2021, the day that my son was murdered. For the longest time, and for reasons I do not care to mention here today, I did not know if I was going to be able to do this. You see, on that day, my life was torn apart, and for a while thereafter, I struggled with dark thoughts and found myself completely lost in a seemingly endless sea of raging emotions with no care as to what happened to me. And grief had consumed me and has squeezed out every bit of joy and happiness in my life. Still, today it's uncertain if I'll find my way back. The events that took place that day have rocked 3 generations of my family and has altered our future forever. These days, there's not much happiness in the holidays. Birthdays and those milestones days don't carry with them the special feeling they always used to. Life used to flow with some sort of rhythm and balance, and the continuity within our family was evident. There were gatherings, vacations, and fun-filled events. What I feel most would deem your typical family situation. That continuity and all that came with it were lost on the day that my son was murdered. Like a severed electrical line, the flow was no longer there. Instead, we've fallen into the darkness, still in shock and total disbelief over the fact that this actually happened to us. Completely blindsided, we've been carrying on with more questions than answers and left to deal with the deluge of emotions we've never experienced before. One could venture to say that there are no words that can accurately describe the pain that we feel on a daily basis. I have PTSD and struggle most days to even get out of bed. Anxiety, stress, sleepless nights, and uncontrolled emotional outbreaks make even the simplest, most normal things difficult. Scattered thoughts, raw emotions, and that uncomfortable elephant in the room feeling I get with everyone I interact with cause substantial uneasiness and affect everything I do. The things I used to find enjoyment in are no longer reliable in that respect, and are done to merely have a feeling of something normal. Golfing, bowling, ball games, hunting, fishing, camping, kayaking are just a few of the activities I used to do with Justin that seemingly will never have the same effects on me based solely on the fact that he's not there to do them with me. I've always operated on the premise that if you get the kids into the things that you like to do, that you'll have those things in common forever, and will always have a way to spend some quality time together. Even if it's just for a quick 9 or an hour on the boards blowing out a few pockets. Father's Day foursomes with my 3 kids out on the link was something I've been looking forward to for a long time, but will never have. This unfair reality is something I will never get over. Day-to-day life goes on for so many, but in the clutches of grief and heartache, the difficulties are real and have so many side effects. It almost feels like time slows down and everything around you speeds up. It's been 2 years already, but feels much like yesterday. I still find myself waiting up for him to get home from work so we can get a few minutes to chat, as it was often the only time we'd have that chance to. It's unbearable to know that he's never going to walk through that door. Never in a million years did I think that something like this was going to happen to me. Although we all know the unfortunate real possibility that this can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime, there's absolutely no way you can prepare yourself for this level of pain. It doesn't matter how much you think you've prepared, or how strong you are, or how big your support network is, you have this level of pain, and it's truly debilitating, and it takes you out. Having seen news reports and documentaries on tragedies of this nature, I don't feel it uncommon at all to watch in horror and disbelief that something like this could actually happen. And I've done what I believe many others have done, and that's have thoughts of how I might feel or act if something like this ever happened to me. Well, now that it has happened, I can 100% assure you that the worst thoughts or feelings you may have do not hold a candle to how it actually feels. For centuries, man has exploited the fragile nature of the human being, and over the years have developed many, many ways to inflict pain, torture, and kill. Millions and millions of human beings have met their fates by way of such devices. As we have all learned in school, there is a full spectrum of reasoning behind these perversions. Although throughout history, those reasons have been widely understood, the sheer brutality of senseless violence has never sat well with the human psyche. So we have evolved till now, and in our modern society, we have established laws and regulations to essentially protect ourselves from ourselves. However, as is seemingly always the case, there are those, for reasons we may never know, who wish to defy the now widely recognized and agreed upon state of human decency and continue to commit such senseless acts of violence. In my opinion, it takes a deeply disturbed individual to leave the compass of basic human decency. The act of taking another human being's life is not only exasperating but extremely selfish and unjust. I believe that once an individual crosses the boundaries of basic humanism and admittingly maliciously kills another person, that individual should meet the same fate. Unfortunately, based on the laws that govern our land, this has been deemed inhumane and is widely frowned upon in modern society. So in lieu of execution, I feel strongly that the individual should never be allowed to walk among his peers again. And this is why I'm going to ask you to lock this son of a bitch up for the rest of his pathetic life. His blatant lack of human decency and disturbing thoughts on life in general do not in any way warrant a second chance. My son doesn't get a second chance, and neither should he. This individual has proven by carrying out these heinous and completely unnecessary acts of violence that he should never be considered fit to rejoin a society that despises this exact behavior. His very name should be condemned, recognized only by his cowardly, vile, and malicious defiance of human law. Now, with all that being said, I'd like to direct my comments toward this disgusting individual I speak of. He sits across the room from me at this very moment, dressed in orange, emotionless. Although I'm sure he may have a half-baked idea of just what I'd like to do to him, I'm not quite sure he has adequately envisioned the exact nature of this idea. I'd really like an opportunity to physically show him how much pain he has caused me and my family. But in a civilized society, governed by complex laws such as ours, this type of display is not permitted. But you can rest assured, you piece of shit, that baby bird screams would pale in comparison to the screams that you would exude if I were only able to show you. But luckily for you, they won't let me. So I will hope, with every bit of hope I have left, that with every passing thought or memory you have about what you've done, you remember my statement, and take time to imagine it happening and recognize it in the worst way possible. I've tried to put myself in your shoes, and over tried to imagine what could have possibly been so horrible in your life to have caused you to commit these crimes. I actually thought long and hard, and can come up with no logical explanation. The fact is that what you did was reprehensible and completely unnecessary. You see, we use things called words to convey our thoughts, our concerns, and our opinions. Sometimes those words we share with, Sometimes those who we share our words with don't hear them or choose to not listen, but this is no reason to throw a tantrum and do the wrong thing. You simply have to speak louder and to more people until you get the results you desire. Life is not easy in any sense of the word. It often feels cruel and unfair, but what you have obviously overlooked is the fact that life is the most precious gift each and every one of us receive, and you have completely wasted yours. You said you wanted to be remembered as a person who committed the biggest shooting in Michigan history, and this may be true. But I will have it entered on file at this time, on this day, for the world to know forever that Ethan Crumley should be remembered as the biggest coward in Michigan history, an individual who unfairly preys upon unsuspecting and helpless lives without the courage to meet their same fate. A truly detestable and ignominious excuse of human being. Now, my last words for you before I conclude is that I truly hope your new roommates welcome you in properly and show you the kind of treatment you can only get on the inside, as it's clearly all you've ever wanted. And it is my hope that there is some kind of pain involved. I also think that as you rot away, lamenting over your wasted life, you should take time to ponder the fact that though you may have taken 4 lives, the selfless gesture of organ donation by my son saved at least 5 lives, thus overshadowing your delusions of grandeur and effectively nullifying all that you feel you've accomplished. Stew in that for a while, and maybe you'll realize that as long as there are good people in the world, willing to selflessly give of themselves to help others, evil will never triumph. My final thoughts are directed towards everyone else. It is with every bit of my heart that I offer all who have helped my family over the course of the last couple of years the sincerest thank you. The sheer magnitude of humanitarianism and goodwill that came in from all over the world has been humbling and has gone a long way to showing me there is still good out there. I strongly believe that it resides within each and every one of us, and that it is our responsibility as human beings to let our goodness shine onto everyone we interact with, whether we like them or not. Because the way we treat each other, both directly and indirectly, affects the lives of more people than you can imagine. Not to mention, it's simply easier to do. I beg of you all, please be kind to one another and put your energy towards walking the path of the righteous and do your part to help eliminate these types of tragedies. Thank you for listening this morning. I wish you all very best.
Thank you, sir. And I know that wasn't easy for you, so thank you for your statements this morning. They did not fall on deaf ears, and I am very sorry for your loss, sir.